Hello everyone, I want to welcome you back to my cooking channel, Fat Boy Cooking. My name is Todd. So today we will be cooking a pork loin in a brown gravy with homemade mashed potatoes. So let's get started. So this week my local supermarket had the pork loin on sale. So as you can see, this is the whole loin. But we are only going to be using half of him. So we're going to cut him in half, and then I will freeze the other half to use later. There we go. So we'll be using this half here. I'm going to put this away, and I will package that up and freeze it later. So, being these are fairly clean, there's not really a lot of cleanup or fat to remove. The fat on the bottom is fine because we're going to this is going to give some good taste and seasonings to the gravy that we will be making. So I'm using my Tony Chachere Seasonal to season all of it. So we're going to just cover all sides of it with seasoning. Flip it over and do the other side as well. And we're going to be baking this for about I'd say probably about 2 hours in the oven at 350. And don't forget to get the end of that. So we got that done there, got that done there. So now we are going to move this over to a pot, to a Magnolite pot or a Dutch oven, whichever one you have, because we will be cooking this in the oven in the pot. So let's get that set up and ready to go. So our oil is hot. So we are going to take our pork loin and set him in the pot and do roughly about a minute or two per side. To get a nice sear. And you want to move it around a little bit so it doesn't stick. Ouch. And be careful because the sides are hot, which I just found out. So let that sit for a minute. And then we'll flip them over and do the other side. And that's our oven, which is at 350 and ready to go. And then once we get this seared, we're going to remove it and we're going to saute some onion. Once again, we want to move it around a little bit so it doesn't stick. And now we're going to decide, which is going to be just a tad thick. Ouch! Difficult. And this we're going to have to kind of prop up to where it sits on the tin. Let that go for a little bit. All right, so that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and remove that from the pot. And then as you can see, all the delicious scraps at the bottom. We're gonna add in 1 small onion, which will break up the stuff that's on the bottom. You may need to add a little more oil. There we go, about another tablespoon of oil. And what will happen as this is cooking in the oven, these onions will basically dissolve. They will become so tender. That's it for just a moment. Because we want it to pull up what's on the bottom. There we go. As you can see, they're starting to get soft. Got all that done. What we're going to do now, add just a little bit of seasoning to the pot. Not too much, because what will happen is we will season it up more when the gravy gets added in. To this, we are going to add a couple of cups of water. We'll let that cook up for just a little bit. Perfect. So now we're going to set our pork loin back in. Then we will add the lid and place it in the oven, like I said, for about 2 hours until the internal temperature is roughly 160 degrees, 65 degrees. So let's go ahead and put that in, and then we'll check on it in a few hours. And once that gets done, then we'll make our mashed potatoes. All right, so the pork loin has been in the oven for roughly an hour, and it's at 145 internal. So let's go ahead and get our potatoes started. So you are gonna need 2 large russet potatoes diced up, and we're gonna boil those till they're fork tender. So we're gonna add some salt to the water. And then we are going to cook them on high till they are fork tender. And then we will continue mixing up our homemade mashed potatoes once that's done. So see you in a bit. Let's check our potatoes and see where they're at. All right, so they're about halfway done. And while we're got this. Let's go ahead and check and see how our pork loin is doing. Alright. Let's get our temperature. There we are. Let's go ahead and check that. Looks good. Alright, temperature is... Alright, we're at about 180 degrees. So we're going to go ahead and pull this out. And then we'll continue on. So let me get prepped up and ready, and I'll be right back. So now what we need to do is make our gravy and slice up our pork roast. So we're going to pull our pork, not pork roast, our pork loin. So we'll pull our pork loin out, set him over here to the side. And then we're going to slice him up, and there we go, perfect. Perfect. So now, we're going to take a packet of brown gravy mix and stir it in. And I use the one that makes 2 cups. As you can see, most of the onions have dissolved. Get rid of all your lumps. Let's see how it's coming. There we go, just need a little bit more light in here. Looks like we're going to need another pack of gravy. Get another package out. And a little bit of lumps in mine in it, so let's go ahead and add a little water into the gravy before we dump it in. I should have done this to begin with. But, you know, there we go. That looks better. All right, perfect. Now we need to check and see if we've got enough seasoning in the gravy. Add just a little more cages and Tony's. There we go. Now what we do is we put the pork loin back in and let it continue cooking some more in the gravy. And being this is a quote unquote Dutch oven pot. It has plenty of heat left in it, so there's really no reason to add this back on the stove. And you also want to get all the wonderful juice when you cut him open or slice him up, and add that in. Make a little bit of a mess. Stir this around just a little bit. And put the lid back on it. And we're going to check and see where our potatoes are. So we'll be right back in a minute. Okay, so our potatoes are done and they are fork tender. So we are going to transfer them to a bowl. And to that, we are going to add a half a stick of butter, and about a half a cup or so of milk. And then we're going to mix these up till they're fluffy. Give a taste and see if it needs any salt or maybe a little bit more butter. Well, add a little bit more salt to it. And maybe just a little more milk. Perfect. So let's plate up and sit down and eat. I'll be right back. And here we have a pork loin with homemade mashed potatoes and gravy. So we're ready to eat. I want to thank everyone for watching, and remember, every Tuesday our new videos are posted and uploaded. Also, I am building some more information into my website, fatboycooking.com. I'm going to eventually have it set up to where all these recipes, not only will they be at the end of the video, but you'll also be able to go to the website and get a slower version to where you don't have to pause the video. Remember, like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, enjoy.